I'm still at this table with 6 freaking people.
Nah.
Nobody will play.
Oh, wow. Well, I know there's some Twitch viewers out there watching. Sorry about it, but I had to go over and get things squared away with them guys. So, I'm probably going to go to I'll go to the blank screen there for a little bit here, probably in about 10 minutes, just for about 5 minutes or so. And then we'll be back to watch these guys finish practicing and get ready to qualify. They're going to be running 120 laps here, I think, tonight. So this should be a pretty good race for these guys. Check it out real quickly. 125 laps. Excuse me. I don't know where I got the 120 from, but that might have been from the last race.
Well, they ain't afraid to put some laps on the board, are they?
Nope. And these Gen 6 are going to be a handful tonight, I think. There's a lot of horsepower for this track. And that's the thing these guys are going to have to, going around here, they're going to have to lift off that throttle and race each other pretty clean, you know, so this should be it's going to be a trying and tough race for these guys. We got our good old buddy John Batista in there. Hopefully he's in chat. He probably is. I don't have the chat window open. Sorry, guys. I've been having troubles with that, so I just don't turn it on. I don't know, one time it works, next time it don't work, so I just said, screw it, I'm not going to have it on. Michael should be in chat taking care of all of you. Y'all got any questions or anything? Ooh, Michael Hungerford, man, he went for a ride there.
He's done that a couple of times. I just been kind of flicking back and forth.
Yeah, wow. Nathan
Slick track.
Yeah, it is. It's what I say, it's going to be a handful here. They've been working on their setups. I talked to Johnny earlier today. This morning, he was talking to me and asking some questions. And he said, yeah, they've been working on their setups. He said, just when they think they got it pretty much dialed in, he said, you know, somebody else comes up with something better, and then, you know, they try that and that works. But he said they're definitely a handful here. Rattler, our point leader. Coming in about third so far in practice. Alan Bowes. Alan Bowes, the one that, man, he dominates.
Third in points.
Yeah, he's doing good. Yeah, we'll go over the points here in a little bit for everybody.
Yeah, right before we start.
Yeah. But Alan Bowes, man, he's good. He's good here. Let's see. Okay, looks like Patrick Crabtree's got the fastest lap right now. Got a 28.106. Wow. Alan Bowes a 10th slower. Wow, how can that be? Man, oh man. I'm not sure if Crabtree's trying to have a real tree paint scheme. Is that what it is?
He has for a few weeks now.
Yeah, it's like a camo.
Yeah.
Paint scheme update, trading paints update, and see, make sure I got everybody's paint scheme on here. There's a few more guys have come in the server, so this will update their trading paints. They're having a hard time coming off of 2. Really struggling.
Yeah, it's like Atlanta with the trucks the other night. It's the slick spot. 2 is a slick spot. Fast cars out here tonight. Alright, Twitch viewers, I'm gonna mute this for just a little bit here till we get stuff switched around, and then we will be back. So just stay tuned, hang on for a minute.
No other help tonight? Wow. No Michael, no nobody, huh? Ah, well. I can talk real crazy about them and they didn't do anything about it. I love it. Well, some of them aren't. I have seen several solo spins off 2 and off of 4. These exits are really slick. I'm looking at this wind, north wind here. It's gusting up to about 16, dropping down to about 10 at the lowest. They're changing direction just slightly from north to northwest, blowing these cars in and out of the corners. That's going to make for some interesting changes in the way the car goes from lap to lap for some of these guys, and hopefully they can keep up with it, and we won't see a bunch of fence beating tonight. Are you seeing that in Celsius or centigrade? Because I'm showing them as 61 with that north-northwest wind and 59% humidity. Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I'm just looking at the server weather right now, and that's what it's showing me. So the humidity not too high, but just about high enough to actually kind of make the track a little slick naturally. That wind really kind of wiggling the cars around. And you got to be just a little loose here, especially for the long run, because as the fuel burns off, tires wear down, it's going to tighten the car up some. So you got to set up just a little loose at the beginning. And it's going to be a real challenge early in the runs for these guys, I can tell you that. And we get some new ones tonight. I know Randall Drake, I didn't see him in that paint last week. And Batista with new paint. Or at least new to me paint. As he goes flying down the front stretch of grass. It looks new to me. He did not have this interstate batteries on here last week. He had something else. Yeah, he made Zach Cahalis maybe wet himself. I'm wondering if he isn't trying some mock Q runs here, and that will really loosen these cars up a ton with the front ends all taped off. I think he might be trying some Q runs. Johnny Reed Foley, I'm looking at there. I like his paint. That's a good scheme for Coca-Cola. Yeah, he squished his Coke can last week. you get that combination. It's a little. The humidity's up just a touch, not a whole lot, but it's up just a touch. That's a little thin sheen of moisture around the track. You got that wind that's blowing you all around. Got that nose pin down, making the rear end light. Yeah, it's going to be real easy on these exits to get this car loose. And the guy tucked up behind the guy is going to be the guy that, he's making the car in front even looser. He could be the guy that pays the price. I don't know. Earlier it was like it was buffering too, so I was going to ask you about that, and I kind of forgot.
And my sound keeps muting. I don't know why. That's the second time it's done that.
Do you have a hotkey maybe accidentally set up and you're touching it?
No, I'm not even touching any keys, and it just muted itself.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of weird. But I'm not keeping
Gremlins. Maybe Michael got remote control of you and he's messing with you.
Oh, that could. See, I'll get the mic a little closer to my mouth and you guys will be able to hear me better now. I don't usually do that till it's about race time, but I know last night in our league race I forgot to do that, and let me get it adjusted here. Sorry about the noise. Awful sensitive. Hopefully that's not too loud now. Alright, so Brian Wolderson now here in the 6th spot, turning some good laps in the number 27. So we're seeing a lot of good racers out here. I'm going to reset this to make sure I've got everybody, because I think a couple of more people did come in the server since I'd started this, so just to make sure. I wanted to give a big shout out to all of our viewers out there in Twitch. Thank you for hanging in there. Sorry about the little pause between the race servers, but we've got to get things changed over and get everything ready for the next broadcast. So I'm thankful that we got done with the last race. There is that little bit of a lull in between there to get things going. And I hope you guys enjoy the race here tonight. This should be a pretty good one. It's going to be, like I said, going to be a handful for these guys, but hopefully they can do something here. We can find another driver on the track. There we go. That should be Nathan Sedlick. Nathan Sedlick running 3rd now in practice. He was 2nd there for a little bit. Patrick Crabtree now 2nd. Let's see who. Alan Bowes. No big surprise there. Alan Bowes laying down the fastest time, a 27.961. I'm sure that was probably like Q run. He may even have had some draft into that. As boy, he piles it up going down the backstretch here. So, Roger, let's run over the points real quick here, our viewers, so they know who to watch for in the points battle going into the race tonight.
Yeah, let's run that around real quick here. David Rattler leading your points here, IWCR on this Friday Night League. 451 points. He sits atop the standings. He's got a 5-point lead over his teammate Crabtree at 446. Alan Bowes at 435 sits 3rd. Joe Roberts sitting in the 4th spot, 411. Michael Hungerford kills your top 5 at 398. He's tied with Hunziker. But I haven't seen him in a couple of weeks. He's starting to slide back through this field. That's the top 6 right there. It's a large gap back to the rest. So, your top 6 really, that's pretty much who's going to be racing for this championship here.
Yeah, Rattler and Crabtree been battling a pretty close battle for, well, the last 3 or 4 races that we have broadcast, they've been really battling hard, and every point's going to count for these guys to get up here and at least lead at a lap, or 1 or more laps, lead the most laps. All this stuff's going to play on the points. Now, Rattler right now only running about 5th fastest in practice. But, when it comes down to race time, he's going to be there. It's got to be who's going to be able to get a good handle on this car, race around each other, play well with others, and have to see how he can bring this home. Last week he got tangled up in a wreck, and I believe he still wound up coming out not too bad in the finish, didn't he?
4th or 5th in that, and we wanted to back to the points. In the last about 4 weeks, that points lead has changed hands 3 times between those 2 drivers. They are just back and forth, 3, 4, 5 points this way, that way.
And it's good to see that. It's good to see a point battle like that versus the leader just smoking the rest of the the field each and every week. It's good to see that. So.
Well, and Alan Bowes just closed up some of that gap by winning a race, or he won a race, and then he finished. What did he finish? How did he do at Homestead last week? Did he win the race at Homestead?
Yeah, he won it last week.
And that's 2 races out of the last 4 that he's won, and he's brought that gap up to 16 points. I mean, 2 or 3 more races, he might be able to close that down there and make this a 3-way battle.
Yeah, Alan Bowes is definitely the one that we want to watch tonight because, if he does bring this in, I'm not sure how many races they got left in the season. I don't know if you can tell that or not, but anyhow, I don't think there's that many races left in the season, and these guys are going to be, like you said, in a 3-way point battle if Rattler and Crabtree are not careful.
Well, yeah, and if either one of those 2 have an issue and Bowes wins, that's a huge jump for him. If they were to get in a wreck, have electrical failure, something, get knocked out of a race and finish, outside the top 10, and Bowes wins, that's a huge chunk of points that you just gave up, especially if you're the points leader.
Yeah, and how far back is it to Bowes?
It's 451 at the top, 446 to second, and 435, so it's 16 points. That's not a whole lot. It sounds like a big gap when you go 1 point per place, but lead a lap, lead the most laps, get the win, that's 5 more points.
Sure is. That can make a big difference right there. So Johnny Foley having a little bit of trouble here. He was talking to me this morning, again, like I said, about the handling on these cars, and a lot of guys having some issues out here. Now, these are homemade setups. It's an open setup league, so they create their own setups, and some of the guys are really dialed in good. Others are having a little difficulty. It looks like the main ones are coming out of turn 2, and there is a couple that I've been watching having trouble coming out of 4. So, all right, well, practice time is over now, so...
Johnny in turn 4 are going to have to reach an agreement, or Johnny's going to have a really long night.
That's for sure. All right, everybody taken to the qualifying grid. It's going to be rolling out, and we'll see where everybody qualifies. So, Roger, what are you expecting out here tonight? Are you expecting a lot of cautions, or you think these guys maybe might try to ride it out a little bit and see how the car is going to start handling with some older tire, or get some laps on the tires?
Well, I kind of imagine these guys know it's 125 laps. The last 20 to 25 laps when you really want to have everything dialed in and you really want to try to get there. You want to see what you got. You want to know what you have before, so you know what adjustments to make. They're going to make a minimum of 2 pit stops. I expect to see a handful of cautions here, especially early. Then we're going to settle out, have a nice long green run, maybe even get in some green flag pit stops again this week. That'd be great. Mm-hmm. And, then it's going to get real interesting down to the end. If we have a caution or 2 within that last 25 laps, I kind of feel like we might have several. But, we got great drivers here. This is not a field of just anybody's. These are really good racers, really smart racers. They know what they need to do. I don't expect to see anything anything crazy or anything, you know, go sideways for anybody, unless it's just a complete anomaly. So I think we're gonna get a really good race out of these guys. It's gonna be some really good action, especially at the end.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now Nathan Sedlick coming in now with a 28.266. Oh, look at Batista laying one down, 28.135. So these guys really, they're going right after it.
He pretty much backed up his this time too. There, he ran a 17 and turned around and backed it up with a 13 in actual qualifying. That's, you know, 400s. That's pretty good backup. I'm waiting to see what the Hungerford and Crabtree Bowes group does.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because those guys, they seem to be the class of the field, not taking anything away from anybody else, but they do seem to have the class of the field out here to lay down some good laps. Sedlick, another one that's in there. And, you know, one of my favorites, Joe Roberts, you know, he's there every week, seems like, and, you know, runs really well. A little bit off on his qualifying time, though, with a 28.6, not a very fast lap.
Yeah, I watched him just a little in practice, and it looked like he was struggling just a touch with a little grip, especially in 2 and 4, like everyone else. Mm-hmm. And he might have just wanted to get a lap down where he could get, you know, middle of pit road stall, and then he's going to go out and do what he does every week. Just keep himself in contention, keep himself out of trouble, and see what he can get at the end.
Crabtree coming in with a 28.327.
That's quite a ways off of his fast time in practice.
Yeah, and that's a couple tenths off of the pole. I kind of expect to see him maybe lay down a pole lap. His second lap could be a pole. If I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, don't they get 10 minutes for practice here? Yes, they do. So we do.
Yeah, 10 to qualify.
Yeah. Only 2 laps, but they get 10 minutes here. And I expect they'll probably advance it after everybody has qualified. But right now, we've only got 6 drivers that have qualified.
Yeah, well, if any of these other guys have had any trouble, contact with the wall, spun out, anything, those laps don't count. You don't get it counted if you get any contacts at all. So I'm wondering if maybe we've had a couple of wall slaps in some of those guys, and it's hurt them quite a bit.
That's highly possible. Because I'm really surprised Hungerford didn't get out there and qualify, or Gidman. I'm not sure, you know, these guys want to start back in the field and maybe just kind of play it easy. Not real comfortable with the car track combination. Texas is a tough 1.5-mile track. It's one of the toughest, I think, out of all the 1.5-mile tracks. I'd rank it right along in beside Chicagoland or Kentucky.
Yeah, and I think that Kansas and Kentucky are probably the 2 toughest in this A car. Texas may be right there around 3rd. Chicago right there behind that. There's Hungerford with an 009.
Wow, that's a good fast lap.
Yeah. And, you know, in practice, he and that turn for a wall were disagreeing completely, too. So maybe he might have figured something out right at the end of practice right there.
Yeah, that's a pretty hot lap. I mean, that's beating Batista by a tenth. Actually, over a tenth, but, you know, that's a pretty smoking hot lap. Haven't seen anybody yet that's tried to put that down, but you know, we might have some guys maybe went took a bathroom break or something. Might have went and got a hot dog at the hot dog stand and wolfing that down before the race, and maybe we'll see a few more qualifiers out here. Only 7 people qualified.
Well, we had 17 in practice. That's less than half the field. I still haven't seen an Alan Bowes. I still haven't seen David Rattler. Slike isn't out there. There's Rattler's time.
Yeah, his first lap, 28.1. I don't think Crabtree's going to be too happy with that qualifying time that he put down. I think he really thought that he probably could have qualified a little bit better than that.
But I think he's going to be a little disappointed in that qualifying time. He likes to be up front, but look for him to get up front after the green flag. But I don't think he's going to be too happy with that starting position.
It's not about where you start. It's always about where you finish. And
Right.
He's one of the guys that goes towards the front and usually hangs out there. And I suspect if he starts in the top 6 that he'll be okay. He'll get to the front there and he'll just kind of stay. He may go for the lead, but he'll get towards the front, top 3 or 4 pretty quick.
Rattler's probably happy that at least he'll be starting ahead of Crabtree. Maybe with that option to get up there and lead a lap early before there's a lot of wrecks or before he gets taken out or whatever. I would look for Rattler to probably try to get up there, get by Batista and Hungerford, and try to lead a lap. At least that's going to get him that valuable point, because these guys battle in such a tight battle for the points lead that every single point's going to count for these guys. And now Gidman qualifying in, and Crabtree moving back to the 6th position. He'll be starting the race here on the outside.
Still not seeing Alan Bowes posting time here. Ross Cato absent from this event.
Oh, that's not good.
He's in the top 10 in points. He's quite a ways back. He's 80-some points back, but still used to seeing him out here every week, and I don't see his name anywhere tonight.
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago he missed the race. If you remember, I think it was Daytona or something. He missed the race totally. And that cost him a lot in points. And then I don't remember where he finished at last week.
We're kind of talking around here about how pretty much everybody has attempted at least one qualifying lap. We may not see any more numbers posted in this qualifying session. You only got about 50 seconds left. That's very interesting. Where's that going to put Alan Bowes?
9 qualifiers now. Randall Drake laying down a 9th place starting position. So with a 28.8, that's way off.
No time from Alan Bowes. No time from Thomas Brandner. Bill Jett, Jason Berg. I don't see times for these guys. Very interesting.
Well, that's where I would want to start in back. The front guys are going to be racing hard. There's going to be some bumping and banging up there. Maybe starting in the back might be a good strategy on some of these guys' part here to try to keep their car intact, And I guess I really can't blame them. So, all right, well...
Alan Bowes put it in the fence-off turn 4, he says.
That's why. All right, well, let's go over the qualifying grid real quick here. Michael Hungerford on the pole with a 28.009. John Batista going to be starting on the outside in the number 39. In second place. In third, the 09 of David Rattler, our points leader. In fourth place, the 04 of Galen Gidman. In fifth, the 35 of Nathan Sedlick. Starting on the sixth place is going to be the 47 of Patrick Crabtree. He's second in points, so not starting too far back behind Rattler. Rattler's starting in third, and he's going to be starting in sixth. In the seventh place, the 27 of Brian Wilderson. In eighth, the number 6 of Joe Roberts. In ninth, the number 9 of Randall Drake. In 10th, the 21 of Alan Bowes. In 11th, the 86 of Jason Berg. In 12th, the 998 of, well, that's you.
Yeah, no, it's going to be Johnny Reed Foley in the 12th position.
Yep.
He's going to move up. Thomas Brander in 13th. Donald Stewart, 14th. Big Slight in the 14 car will be 16th. And Zachary Cahalis should round out the back of the field, start shotgun.
Yes, sir. So, all right. Well, we got about a 17-car field here tonight. Not as many as I expected. Not as many as I expected. But, all right. Well, we're going to get this thing underway here in just a minute. The car should be starting to get ready here to roll off the grid. Talk about these cars a little bit here, Roger. What do they push? 850 horse, I believe, ain't it?
Yeah, 850 horse, and that, in practice I tried to watch just trying to see where these guys are at speed wise, and I saw a couple of guys clip the 200 mark going into turn 3, and I saw 2 or 3 cars 202, 203 going down into turn 1. They're not wasting any time, and they are definitely not saving any of the horsepower in these cars, putting all 850 horsepower down to the ground, and that's clipping it getting around this little mile and a half, because it's slick to begin with, and with these conditions, man, it's got to just be a handful to get around here. You're working your hands all the time.
Well, that's for sure. All right, well, Hungerford gonna bring him around here. The lights are off on the pace car, and we're getting ready to go to green flag here in just a second.
Yeah, we'll see how quick they get down to single file and settle in here and just kind of try to ride for a little while and see what they got. I bet we see that happen pretty fast, 3 or 4 laps at the most.
Pace car ducks off. Hungerford jumps the green flag, and here we go. We're off and running here for 125 laps at Texas, and he pulls away from the field by a mile. Good jump by Hungerford. Back here.
Galen.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I was watching that start. Galen Giddens, boy, he was asleep when that green dropped, and he almost got run over by Batista. And then getting down into 1, Batista got a little loose, and Gibbon got right back by him.
A little bit of tire smoke come off of Nathan Sedlick back here. Nathan's already back to the 7th position, but I seen a little tire smoke coming off of that going into turn 3.
Yeah, I think he might have touched the apron down there on the bottom of turn 3.
Patrick Crabtree now running in the 10th spot back here, falling back quite a little bit. From that restart.
I think that was sorry, Rudy. I think that was a product of the bad start by Gidman, and now he and Bose and Sedlick are all having to try to work back from that.
I think some of these guys might be just kind of backpedaling a little bit right now, trying to save their tires, and probably not a bad move. Patrick Crabtree does come up on the inside now of Sedlick, because Sedlick 1 position back.
Michael Hungerford real loose off turn 4, gets down the grass, and he'll lose the lead to David Rattler right there. He's going to keep it square and get it back on the track.
What a ride that was. He did not need that. He goes clear back 12. I've got him in 12th position right now. And he's
still going backwards.
Yep. 14th position now. Wow. All right,
and I'm not going to be real surprised if he didn't get a black flag. I'm going to go back and look.
He may have.
He did hit the green cone, and he was inside the orange cone. He may have to make a stop and go. I'm not sure.
We'll have to keep an eye on that as Rattler pulls away now. Batista in 2nd place, but back here 1.3, 1.4 seconds behind Rattler. Oh, we got another one in the wall. Caution out.
Caution's out. That's Nathan Sedlick in the wall off of turn 2.
Oh my, did he ever hit the wall a ton there. Let's go back and watch this in replay.
he got that apron again, Rudy.
And that apron will eat you up right there. Yeah, he does catch the apron. And boy, that's hard to recover from, and it just shoots him right out. He tries to keep it off the wall, but can't quite do it. Comes in, and boy, and he hits that inside wall a ton.
Yeah, and Michael Hungerford can start breathing again, because I know he just gasped for air when he saw that 35 on the low side spinning right in front of him. He almost couldn't avoid him.
Yep. Oh, man. So we got a couple of cars tore up already here. And looks like Nathan is on pit road and trying to get some of that damage fixed up.
Yeah, he's going to be there a while. No front up. Both fenders messed up. The hood is all mashed up. He's going to be on pit road for a little bit here.
Rattler now
this is going to take a while.
Staying out, not pitting. Wow, I figured maybe these leaders would pit.
At the top 5 or 6. Down from behind that, yeah, those guys are probably all going to pit. Just, nothing really to lose. You're not going to fall too far back. They've, Alan Bowes there was 6th, and he'd already moved all the way up there. So he really isn't going to lose a whole lot if he goes in and get tires. And Crabtree ran his a little hard. We know Hungerford needs to go get tires. He slid all the way down the front stretch. So
yeah,
Crabtree's
on pit road. Randall Drake, Alan Bowes, Jason Berg, Michael Hungerford, of course, Thomas Brandner, Johnny Foley, Donald Stewart, Bill Jett, all the back part of the field, all on pit road. So, and looks to me like Johnny Foley only took 2 tires, so I'm not sure how that's going to work out for him, but he had a 9.8 second pit stop. I don't know if
he wants to know what it'll do now. On a short run, he may want to go in and get tires, find out what it's going to do now, so he knows if later he needs to do that, he can afford to do that.
Oh, that's a good point. I never thought of it that way. That's a very good point. Randall Drake having an 11.9 second pit stop. I'm going to say that's probably what he did too, was a 2-tire pit stop.
Well, how about if I go check?
That sounds like a winner to me. But no changes up in the front right here, as the front 5 did not pit. David Rattler, John Batista, Galen Gidman, Ryan Wolverson, and Joe Roberts. None of them pitted. Staying out.
I will confirm that he did have a 2-tire pit stop, and the reason why his pit stop was over 11 seconds was because he missed his pit and had to back up into it.
Oh, that'll do it. That will do it. All right, looks like everybody's still on the lead lap except for Nathan Sedlick, which is still on pit road, I believe, getting his damage fixed up. He's been in there almost a minute now.
He may be there for several minutes, as much damage as there is to the front of that car.
Yeah, he took a hell of a wallop, I'm telling you. That was a hell of a wallop he took. Let's see. Let's go check on him and see. Nathan Sedlick.
Well, that inside wall, no safer barrier, so the hits to that inside wall are really, really hard.
Yeah, he doesn't have hardly any front end left on that car, so his pit crew's going to have to work really hard on that car to get it back out there on the track. All right, the car's starting to double back up now as we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing here, Roger.
Yeah, I had jumped to look and see if anybody was chatting in the chat out there with the Twitch viewers. So, yeah, I'm back here now, and I'm seeing that we're about ready to go. You still got Rattler on the front, Batista second, Gidman going to restart third, Wilderson fourth, Roberts and Bowes going to round out the top 6 here.
Yeah, Bowes, I think, is going to start. He's going to start getting himself worked back up toward the front. He did have a pretty good pit stop, a 13.8 second pit stop. One of the fastest of the, well, it was the fastest of the 4 tire changers. So
That's a good pick, crew. I think I'd keep them.
Well, and it kept him, and he held his position. You know, he didn't lose anything, and that's important. Now he's on a little fresher tires. We go a long run. He's going to have a good advantage here.
Do you want to call this down, Roger?
You bet. Off turn 4, pace car drops down into the pit road. Green flies. David Rattler takes the green. Back underway at Texas. Man, he got a shot out of there after the initial start, didn't he? Brought Gidman right with him.
He sure did. And the 04 of Galen Gidman taking over the second position as Batista gets stuck on the outside, can't get back in. And he falls back to the 4th place.
He just looks really loose up off the bottom. He's up closer to the top. He looks like his car is just really, really not working well.
Number 6 there of Joe Roberts getting by him, so Batista going back another position. And look who's on the inside of him right now, Alan Bowes. Alan Bowes going to take over that position.
Crabtree's going to take another one away from him too. Wow.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy.
Batista needs to find himself a Band-Aid to stop the bleeding here.
I'm telling you, they're just going by him like a freight train on that inside.
I just lost him another one here to Jason Berg, and if he's not careful, Brander's going to take him too, and Hungerford's looking inside already. 3 wide in turn 2.
I don't know what the heck's going on with Batista, but man, he is sure falling back. Yeah, back up here, guys, Alan Bowes now in the 3rd spot. As Rattler checks out on these guys, Galen Gidman almost a second behind him already. And Alan Bowes right there ready to capitalize on Gidman as they go into turn 1, and he gets a run, gets down low, comes out of 2 and does pass Gidman, and here comes Patrick Crabtree to do the same thing.
Yeah, I think Gidman said, you know, fresher tires, here you go. You go right on ahead. You two got new tires and you're fast. I'm going to let you go see if you can run that guy down because I can't do it.
Yeah, Alan Bowes now in the 2nd spot. He's about almost a second behind Rattler. And Rattler out there on them old tires, never pitted. Bowes did pit. Bowes has got new tires.
Yeah, he's getting everything out of this fresh set of tires that he can get right now, too.
And Nathan Sedlick is back out on the track now. 8 laps down, but he is back out on the track. We're getting a report now. Not completely up to speed, but he's out there turning laps.
Thomas Brander just took over the 6th spot from Brian Wilderson on the outside, no less.
And now Michael Hungerford on the inside gets a little loose. Well, he's got some rear end damage on that car too.
Yeah, I just saw that. He did not have that a couple laps ago when I watched that car.
Looking back on the rest of the field behind Michael Hungerford, looking back on Joe Roberts. Oh, and we are under caution. Okay, I did not see that.
I didn't see the caution. Oh, there we go. Donald Stewart on the front stretch here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, he hit the wall a ton right there.
62 clipped the apron, slid up just a little. He was already committed to being on that outside, and they made some solid contact there and put him in that outside wall. Significant right side damage, toes knocked out of that.
Yeah, right there's where the 62 caught the apron and come up the hill and pushed him. A little bit of net coating involved in that, but pushed Donald Stewart right into the wall, and that definitely knocked the toe out.
Yeah, Jet was down there. He was just a little slow, and I don't know if the lack of speed got him down and touched that apron, or if the car was just headed there anyway, and he was trying not to overdrive it to keep it off that apron. And when he touched that apron, he just shot him up to the right, and Stewart was already committed to being there.
Well, now let's see if Rattler will come down pit road. He's got 17 laps on these tires, and I believe he is taking that hard left turn to come down pit road.
And now everybody will follow him.
That's for sure.
I never did find the spot where Hungerford got his right rear corner damaged, but he definitely needs to get that fixed.
Everybody coming down pit road. Rattler coming into his pit stall. Is in the third pit stall. Hungerford coming in. I believe as fast as Rattler come in like that. Oh, and Batista had to back up in his pit stall. Boy, he just can't get a break today, can he?
When that pit stop stuff is going to change the game. And Alan Bowes takes your lead coming off a pit road.
Ain't that something?
He had a smoking stop and flew down that pit road getting past Rattler.
He sure
beat him
did.
to that line.
14.1 second pit stop.
And I was going to go down during this caution period and ask him how the conditions were on the track too.
If you want to do that, I can open a mic if it's open, free for me to open.
It looks good now. It looks like we can get a word in with one of these guys.
All right, go ahead.
Alan Bowes, Roger Wagner in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, we watched you a little bit there. We know you had a little bit of trouble there in qualifying. We were kind of curious to find out what the conditions are like down there. You guys are racing there, and it looks like it's extremely slick.
Yeah, it may look like that, but then it you know, I'm not exactly driving it right, so for me it's a little tight. For some people it might be a little slick if they're driving it right.
Well, you worked your way back up to the front here. You got the lead. Can you hold off the 09 there of David Rattler?
I doubt it, but we'll have to see.
All right, man. Well, good luck to you. Have a good, clean race, and we get to talk to you at the end of the night.
Enjoy the show.
All right.
Well, he says he's struggling with his setup, I think.
He says he don't think he can hold off Rattler. Rattler going to be restarting second. Look who's third. Crabtree. Galen Gidman right there. Thomas Brander up in the top 5 now.
Yeah, and you know, so starting 13th, he's worked his way up here, you know, inside 20 laps, all the way in the top 5. That's getting her done.
Yeah, Alan Bowes starting 10th, and here he is leading the race now. I mean, I guess that shows you the resilience of some of these drivers out here, and the dedication that they have to try to get their car up into the front and lead some laps, or at least lead the last lap. You know, that's going to be their important goal here tonight.
Yeah, and you know, your pole sitter's back in 14th right now.
Man, that's something, ain't it?
Yeah, and he is back on the road. He's it looks like he's got some of that damage worked out. It looks like he's going to go back and let the crew try to knock the rest of that fender back square, or at least as square as they can. Hopefully that'll help, because that spoiler's laid down real bad on the right side now, and that's just going to really loosen that car up a bunch.
And it looks like Donald Stewart has taken his car behind pit wall after that wreck.
He had the toe knocked out. The right side was mangled up pretty good. He may have just not wanted to fight it the rest of the evening.
Or be a hazard out there to the points leaders, you know, and probably a good call. You know, I wouldn't want to be out there trying to keep the pace with these guys when I know I can't. So, Roger, they're getting ready to go green again here. Knock yourself out, man.
All right, buddy. This car makes the hard left onto pit road. Alan Bowes nails the gas. The green flag is in the air. We are back underway at Texas.
Crabtree getting a little bit of a run on Rattler now, wanting to get by him in that second position. And it looks like he does clear Rattler. And look who's coming up on the tail of Rattler now. Thomas Brander.
That's a good jump from 5th to 3rd for him. Or is he in 4th now? He's in 4th now. That's a pretty good start, though, really. I mean, he picks up a spot, gets past Gidman. got Rattler in his sights, and David's going, wait a minute, 3 laps ago I was leading this race. Why am I third now?
That's right. That's how fast it happens here with these cars. The conditions they're driving in. Thomas Brander takes it way up high that time. Boy, he barely keeps from hitting that wall. Now Rattler looking on the inside, taking a peek there on the inside of Crabtree.
Jason Burr's got Joe Roberts under fire coming off 4. Both cars get a little loose there. I think Berg will prevail going into 1.
And Batista trying to fight back here and get some of them positions back that he lost. He's on Joe Roberts' tail here big time. And I'm sure, with them being as close as they are, I'm sure that could be taking some of the air off of it. Boy, Joe Roberts catches that apron just a little bit. Batista off the pace.
Yeah, he caught the apron as well. He followed him right down there to it. It looks like he's going to hold it up and stay out of everybody's way and get back onto the track without any incident here, but he's going to go way back.
Yeah, he's going to be clear
12th?
back to the 11th position.
All right. A couple of thoughts here real quick. 2 things. 1, I'd really like to see a long green run just to see kind of how this plays out. We're going to find out who's got what a little bit. And the other thing is, these guys, the guy out front is just, he's got a huge advantage, it looks like. He just, every time just pulls away. Whoever's out front, doesn't matter.
Alan Bose is already putting Crabtree over a second back now. Crabtree 1 second and a half. Oh, and Rattler gets by Crabtree to move into the second position. Rattler said, we can't let him get out there that far.
Oh, 5 points. That's not very much. I want to keep the guy in my rear view.
Yeah. So already a second and a half in back of Bose. So Bose, I think, talking a little smack there just before the green flag. He said that he was going to try to stay out ahead of Rattler. Now Crabtree challenging him back. They almost touch coming off a 4. Thomas Brander getting into the mix now. And they both go by Rattler. What's going on with Rattler? He
was really loose right there in the middle of 3 and 4, Rudy. And Crabtree went ahead to make the move on the bottom, got loose himself, and let Brander close up. Just unbelievable amount of space in a short period of time. And then Rattler never did get it gathered back up. Oh, now Brander's on the apron. Keep an eye on him.
Smoke. Yeah,
that's off Brander.
As Rattler gets back by him, but Rattler had hit the wall coming off a 2 that last lap.
So did Brander, and he's got just a touch of damage on that right front fender, just ever so slight bend in it.
All right, so Rattler in third. Let's see, Crabtree up here in second. Now 2.2 seconds, 2.3 seconds behind our leader, Alan Bose. So Alan Bose checking out on this field.
Yeah, he is driving away. He might have been playing a little possum there.
I think he was. I think he was talking a little smack there before.
Johnny Reed Foley. Wow, sorry to bust in on you. He went way sideways and down in the grass coming off a 4. Him and turn 4 just can't come to any kind of agreement.
No. That's a tough turn to come to an agreement with. He takes it up kind of high here, going into 3, and tries to diamond it and come down low. And maybe he found something there. Maybe that's what he needs to do. He did a late entry on the turn.
Hungerford.
Oh, into the wall, man.
Oh, he didn't get the wall, but boy, did he scare it. He was just coming down the front stretch, and it just turned left on him right there in the last dogleg before turn 1 and went all the way across the apron. And I know he didn't touch that wall, but I'm sure that he held his breath for a second right there.
I'll bet you he did. Now trying to get that thing back up to pace. 13 seconds behind the leader, so he's got a lot of ground to make up. And I'm sure he superheated them tires trying to keep it off of the wall. So I bet you there was a little bit of brake involved on that one.
I got to be wondering if Rattler maybe made a change during that last round of pit stops that just does not agree with his car, because he's running back here fourth position, third position, but he is quite a ways back of the top two, and he is right in front of fourth and fifth, Branner and Berg, and just not really getting away from him.
Yeah. Brandner now gets by Berg and moves into the fourth position. Berg right there hanging on his bumper, but also we've got the 27 of Brian Wilderson. We ain't talked too much about. He's still running pretty good as he got both of them guys got by Galen Gidman and put Galen Gidman back to the 7th position. Joe Roberts now, he keeps falling back. He's back to the 9th position as Batista does get by him. So Batista rolling into the 8th position now.
Bo's out to about 3.3 seconds now.
Yeah, about a 3-second lead. Yeah, over Crabtree. Man, I'm telling you what, Bose is just checking out. Let's give him a little camera time here. You know how it goes. The leader don't get a whole lot of camera times, but we're going to give him a little.
If you stink it up, you don't.
We talked to him about that here a couple weeks ago and last week. You know?
David Rattler's finally moved away from that other group as Berg got past Brandner again, but Rattler started to drive away, and he's trying to run down Crabtree.
Yes, he is.
I'm sorry, Wilderson. Caution's out. Caution's out.
Looks like Bill Jett and Michael Hungerford getting into that. So let's check this out here on Bill Jett and we'll go back to replay.
Yep. Looks like he just got way out in the marbles in turn one, got her into the wall, and turned it right down into Michael. Michael kind of missed the entry there and was up high, and Bill just kind of turned it down into him.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for him. I mean, he was actually doing pretty good. Oh man, he just come up in front of Hungerford like that, but then bounced it off of the wall and come back down. Hungerford didn't have nowhere to go. You know, he was hoping he was going to miss that. I don't think Hungerford got a lot of damage on that. If anything, I think all he did was superheat his tires up and from that slide. But Jet's got a little bit of damage on the left rear of that. What are we seeing here, though? All the leaders coming down pit road again.
They are. Well, that was a pretty good little run there. I mean, it was, 8 or 10 laps.
Everybody coming.
It was about 12.
Yeah. Pretty good run. 37 laps now out of 125. So Alan Bowes actually coming to his pit stall first. Doing a 4-tire change as I'm watching him. Topping off that fuel and he's away. Let's see if he's going to get out ahead of anybody. Oh, Crabtree coming out second. Almost beating Bowes off the pit road.
Yeah, Berg got by Rattler on pit road, dropped David backwards. David is just not having a good night on pit road right now either.
Yeah, he did lose a couple positions right there because of that. So
exactly, and he has every time he's been on pit road, he's lost position.
Yeah, Berg actually had almost the fastest lap. Batista had the fastest lap with a 13.2 second pit stop. And
getting her done.
Berg with a 13.7 second pit stop. So, but now Bowes had a 14.6. That was a very slow pit stop for Bowes.
And held the lead.
Yeah.
Driver made up what the pit crew couldn't.
That's pretty amazing. So, all right, well, these guys getting out here and getting at it now. They're turning in some really good laps here, and 38 laps. They're on lap 38 right now, 37 in the books out of 125.
The top 6 really didn't change anything but a couple of positions there. I mean, Berg up to 3rd, Rattler back to 4th, Wilderson still 5th, and Batista 6th. So really not a whole lot of change. just that pit stop thing for Rattler, he's got to get that figured out. He just keeps losing spots.
I think I'd fire that pit crew.
He's reminded me of Kurt Busch's pit crew every time. They lost him 4 or 5 spots on pit road every time he pit.
And we did have another one take his car behind pit wall, Nathan Sedlick. He had a lot of damage, and obviously he figured out he just couldn't keep up with this crew. But Bill Jett's still on pit road.
Well, he doesn't have a whole lot of damage. Just he can continue to run out here. It's just going to be a little different feel for him, and I think he's probably trying to get as much of it beat out as he can, so he's not an obstruction. He just wants to go ride the laps and finish the race. I mean, he's a trooper. He's finished pretty much all the races I've seen. It just, he got in that corner and got it bent up a little bit. Nothing you can really do once you do that. Just get it fixed and try to hang on.
Hungerford, being our pole setter, running in the 12th spot now, kind of worried about him if he can get this thing dialed in now and get this thing back up into the hunt here with the leaders right now.
Well, excuse me. We've seen him do the same thing last week at Homestead. Really fast practice, really fast qualifying, and then struggled the entire race to get the car back underneath him.
All right, well, the lights are off on the pace car, Roger, and I'll go ahead and call this one down. And we get ready to go back to green flag racing. Lights off on the pace car. Coming down the backstretch going into turn 3, and when we come out of 4, pace car is going to make that hard left turn, and we're going to see green flag racing here again. Taking lap 40 when they cross the line. All right, the pace car rolls in, and Alan Bowes takes right off, and so does Patrick Crabtree. Those two side by side. Crabtree said, "You're not going to get me on that one."
It's about as good a restart as we've seen between the two front row guys.
You bet. Great. Everybody out here on fresh tires. This is going to be just like the start of a brand new race right now. Crabtree taking a peek. Looking like he wants to take a peek on the inside of Alan Bowes, but can't quite get up the power to get up there to him. And already Alan Bowes starting to move away from Patrick Crabtree out there, about 3/10 already.
Rattler's going to take third spot away from Jason Berg here.
Jason Berg going back to the 4th spot now.
And since the drop of the green flag, Joe Roberts has been on the move. He's passing his 2nd or 3rd car right here.
And when we were talking about earlier, John Batista now into the 5th spot. So maybe he did a little work on that car in pit and got some things dialed in that he was having issues with, because here he is rolling up in the 6th spot and pulling away from the rest of the field by a little bit.
Yeah, they're pretty racy back here, about 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th position. Hungerford's trying to work his way back towards the front. I think he might have figured something out.
I think he did. I think he had a little communication going on with his pit crew, and said, "You guys got to fix this. I can't drive it. It's a piece of junk." But Jason Berg, man, oh man, is he ever running good up here in the 4th spot, hanging right on to Rattler. Rattler back here about a second behind our leader. Crabtree now 3.5 tenths behind Alan Bowes. He's just not letting Bowes get out there too awful much. Crabtree definitely wants to finish ahead of Rattler. Oh, and Crabtree a little loose coming off a 2 that time. That's going to cost him some time, and he did not need that.
Not if he wanted to keep up with Bowes, he didn't.
He definitely missed his mark, I think, that time. And, man, I'm telling you what, that let that Rattler catch right up to him pretty close. Rattler not far behind him.
And Rattler's loving every second of that. He's saying, man, just go ahead, slip up like that again, and I'll be on top of you.
Yeah, well, I think we're about to have another casualty. Zach Cahalis just pounded the wall coming off of turn 4 down the front stretch. Right side of his car is mashed in pretty good now.
Yeah, he's not up to speed right now either. I'm trying to get that thing back up, but it looks like maybe he might try to head in on pit road here. He is really struggling with the toe on that, and it's just not turning.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got the toe knocked out or if he broke the rear end in that car, but that thing was not running down the straightaway in a straight line at all. It was cockeyed to the left, and I think he may be headed to the attention of his pit crew for a lengthy stay on pit road.
Well, that's too bad. You know, these guys they run so well out here every week, and you know, something like that for them to happen to them, it's just heartbreaking for these guys. You know, they put so much into it all week long, working on these setups.
Joe Roberts, wow, did he get loose and hit the wall off to a ton.
And boy, that lets Johnny Foley just go screaming by him.
Galen Gibbon did a great job seeing that and checking up not to run into him right there, too.
Johnny Foley going to fall clear back. Joe Roberts falling back to 10. Oh,
Brandner.
Thomas Brandner. What's up with Thomas Brandner?
Got loose behind Hungerford on the front stretch. Did a great job of not hitting anything, but he had to slow way down to gather that back up. Everybody did a good job of missing him.
You know, I hate to say this, Roger, but I'm telling you what, these guys are really struggling on this track with this car tonight. They're really not having a good night.
We're seeing cars just snap loose going down the straightaway here. This is, you know, I mean, we had a couple of those last week, and we thought maybe it was an aero thing. Tonight, I think it's a mechanical grip issue. We just don't have any.
Michael Hungerford now up into the 6th spot. You know, trying to pick up some of the spots that he lost there early on. Here he is 5.6 seconds behind the leader. But that was our pole setter, Michael Hungerford, and here he is running in the 6th spot.
Done made it a very nice recovery. We'll see if he can continue to come forward. About, what, 5.5 seconds back now?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. And Alan Bowes starting to inch his way away from Patrick Crabtree, and David Rattler's starting to inch his way into the back door.
Yeah, Crabtree looks like he's hanging there about 8 or 9 tenths of a second behind Bowes, but man, I'll tell you, I just don't think anybody's got anything for Bowes out here tonight, and I'm not surprised by that.
You know, I'm kind of watching for the last lap or two, and he's not really doing anything fantastic, fabulous, however you want to put it. He's being very smooth, trying to be very consistent, and being real concise with his hands and his feet. He's just being smooth, and it's getting him away. All the rest of these guys fighting a little loose, fighting a little tight, not being as consistent or able to be as consistent, and he's starting to inch his way away from them.
We're going to ride on board here with Rattler, looking ahead to Crabtree, as it looks like he's just barely maintaining that position, but he was a little bit loose coming off before that time, and he lost some ground to Crabtree. These guys take it down so low into turn 1 and 2 and just let it roll around there. And man, I'm telling you, these guys are really putting down some great laps. I couldn't do this. I could not do this.
You know, I'm not a big fan of this car. I think it drives like a wet sponge, but you know, watching some of these guys, it's like a second job. You know, it's got to be. As much work as they put in on the setups and driving these cars on Friday night, it's got to be like a second job.
I'll tell you, I'd be totally exhausted if I ran 125 laps here.
I'm exhausted watching them. I'm back here watching about 8th, 9th, and 10th, and they're starting to build themselves just a little bit of a battle. Johnny Reed Foley, Galen Gibbon, and Thomas Brandner here. Little loose here, a little wiggle there. I'll give you some ground. Oh, I got to take something away. These guys are starting to race just a little bit here. whether it's intentional or not, it's actually getting kind of fun to watch now.
Yeah, Johnny Foley kind of takes a high line around that turn. Maybe he's found something up there that Thomas Brander hasn't found. He took a high line around 1 and 2 and held it. Oh, and Brander catching that apron. That's going to cost him big time.
He had just worked his way up into racing with those two, and now he's falling way back because of that just little slip.
Just catching that doggone apron. Got to stay away from that apron there, Thomas.
Your 5th place car is about to be under fire from Mr. Hungerford. Oh, that's not much of a battle there. He just went right on by. That was actually for 6th place. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, because I was on 5th place. Nobody's even around Batista.
Oh, no. Batista's got clear track behind. He's trying to run down Jason Berg there.
Yeah, Jason Berg looked like he was running pretty good there after that restart. And now he's kind of falling off the pace just a little bit. But getting up here, David Rattler still in 3rd spot. Crabtree 2nd. Rattler about almost 2 seconds behind our leader, Alan Bowes.
That gap between Bowes and Crabtree has stayed about 8.5 tenths to a second. A little here, a little there, but it's kind of equaled out. I think Crabtree's starting to figure out smooth is fast.
And they're coming up on the halfway mark here in about another 4 laps. We'll be at the halfway mark here already. And so far we've had 3 cautions, 2 lead changes. That's all we've had, 2 lead changes.
We got about an 18, 19 lap green run here going. Things are starting to stretch out a little. Guys are a little past a third of the way through this fuel run. Cars are going to start to settle down, and some of the loose may go out, and they start to go neutral about now. So we're going to find out, I think, if Bowes has got a really good set, he may start walking away from these guys.
Yeah, I think he was kind of buffaloing us on that a little bit. I think he got a little bit better set under the hood of that thing than what he was letting on. So I think it's showing here. I think
you don't think Alan would intentionally lie to me, do you?
I think he was playing a little psych game with these guys. So, hey, that's all part of racing, psyching them out. They're thinking that he's got something that that they can get by him, and come to find out they can't even come close to catching him.
Wow, I had to go a very long ways back to find Joe Roberts. He's running back 13th position, about 16.5 seconds off the leader. That little bit of contact with the wall has really killed his car. He was moving forward before that. He was up about the top 5.
Another one too is Randall Drake. Randall Drake just been running a clean, smooth race, holding his line, running 15 seconds behind the leader, but I haven't really seen him slip too much, so he must have a pretty good, stable setup under him.
Well, I just happened to catch Hungerford riding around down on the apron. Something happened to him last lap.
He fell back to 13th now. Exactly what happened to him, but boy, he's well off of the pace.
Got loose off 2s, fought that car all the way back down the backstretch, round 3, round 4, had it sideways 4 or 5 times, kept it off of everything, got it back underway. But boy, his car just a handful for him.
Oh, it sure is. Let's get back up here. Crabtree now about 1 3/4 seconds in back of Alan Bowes. So Alan Bowes is already starting to check out, even on Crabtree.
Yeah, his setup's really good on the long run. He's really taking care of his tires this whole run. Hadn't done anything foolish. Now the fuel's burning, the car's getting neutral, and he's finding out where his speed's at. And Crabtree's just watching him get smaller out the window.
Even Rattler, Rattler's falling back and falling back. He's about a full second behind, or a little over a second behind Crabtree. So Rattler already starting to feel the fall off of these tires. They got quite a few laps on these tires already.
Yeah, we gotta be about 22, 23 laps. About 23 or 24, coming up on the 24th lap here.
So they got to be feeling a little bit of tire fall off here, and you know, I'm sure a long ways from where they really want to pit. You know, I'm sure they would all love to have fresh tires out there, but you can't maintain track position and try to get, you know.
Well, you know, if I'm doing the numbers right in my head, Rudy, sorry to walk over there, we can do this in one more stop if it stays green.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, because we're past halfway. And,
well, we're halfway through this fuel run. That'll take us up to somewhere between lap 85 and 90. That'll leave us not even a full fuel run to the end. About 45 to 50 laps here. Still got 15 of these cars out on track. Still got 13 of them on the lead lap. Michael Hungerford holding down that last on the lead lap position, but man, is that car a handful for him. He is just fighting every corner. About 25 seconds behind the leader.
Thomas Brandner getting by Brian Wilderson and Galen Gidman for the 6th position. So Brandner is on the move.
Getting his car's probably getting where it's comfortable for him, and he's starting to like it a little bit. He's got a long ways to catch up to John Batista though.
Yeah, John Batista, about 6 seconds ahead of Brandner. John out here just running his line and clean air around him. Nobody immediately challenging him, and he's quite a ways back behind Berg. Berg running in the 4th spot, 4.8 seconds back of the leader. But you know, it's really not that bad. That's not out of the reach of a win. If our leader would happen to slip up or something, you know, Jason Berg could close that gap up real quick.
Yeah, we saw, Hungerford, he was running about 6th. Got loose there down the backstretch, and he lost 20 seconds.
Yeah. That's all it
Just
takes.
trying to gather that car up.
Takes quite a little
He's not
bit
that far in front. Sorry, Rudy.
To get it under control and then get back into the throttle, because if you try to get back into the throttle before you got that car under control, you just get out of control again, so...
I'm on Hungerford looking back, and I can see the leader coming off of turn 4, and he's at the stripe. They're on the same straightaway.
I hate to say this, but Berg is starting to reel in Rattler. He lost him for a while there, and now Rattler kind of, I don't know what's going on with Rattler.
Looks like he's getting real tight because he's working up the hill there. It's like that car's not turning in at all.
And he's loose coming off, though. Tight going in, loose coming off.
Yeah, a car blowing engine on the front stretch.
Uh-oh, who was that?
Not sure. Might be the 44 of Zach Cahalis. Sounds like that car's running, though.
Maybe he dropped the cylinder. Looks like he is losing a lot of speed. Bringing it down here. He may have blew it. I think he had too much damage on that car to try to get it back out there.
Yep, man, he lost it going into turn 1. Yeah, the engine let go there. Is he going to make it around to the pits?
Boy, I don't know. Still got a little ways to go to make it there. And I don't think they're going to be able to fix up a blown engine.
Yeah, probably not.
Back up here to Crabtree. We got Rattler and Crabtree. Bo's up in the lead. Man, he is just powering around this track. Crabtree hanging on now, back up to a 2.5 seconds. So he is starting to reel in Bo's.
He's closing it down on his 2/10 in the last 3 laps.
Crabtree really.
Berg is at the bumper of Rattler, though.
Boy. And he passes Rattler.
Yeah, I think David knew it's not a matter of if, it's just a win. Let's make it now when we can do it nice and easy and get on by.
Ooh, Rattler coming down pit road.
Yeah, Rattler just decided that's enough of that. I can probably make it 50 laps. Yeah, that might be right at the edge of.
Running their Seattle Seahawks paint scheme tonight. That was back from when you painted all the football schemes, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing him in a play seat scheme. I may not have his paint.
Okay. Well, I updated Trading Paints, so I unless Trading Paints ain't working again, but he does a 4-tire change, tops off that fuel now. Roger, can he make it the rest of the way on fuel?
You know, I'm thinking that's right at the edge, but yeah, he might be able to put 50 laps out there on it. I mean, he had fallen off just a little in that 30, 35 lap run we done there, but you know, if you're willing to take that chance and try to make it up right there, I don't see anything wrong with that. You know, Crabtree's has cut it down to 1.25 here. He's reeling Bose in on this long run.
He sure is.
We're about 35 to 38 laps into this run here. We're within about 10 to 12 laps of pit stops anyway. Guys are getting in their windows now.
And I think we're going to probably see our leaders come down pit road here before long.
Bo's time is you know, still fairly consistent, but he's struggling with that car. Looks like he's really tight in the centers now.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to cough in y'all's ear. It just a tickle in my throat there real quick. But yeah,
Happened to me a little bit ago.
Berg up there only 3.5 seconds off of these guys, because you know. So I'm thinking, you know, these guys their tires have come in, and Bose being out there has really pushed the envelope to where you know, trying to stay ahead of these guys, and these guys are catching him.
Yeah, he might have run off a little bit of his tires trying to get out and get himself a big lead, when maybe he could have stayed right there and saved a little. But I think he wanted to break that little bit of draft that you get here. It's just ever so much draft you get here, and I think he wanted to get him out of that draft and make him work it in clean air on his own, you know. And Crabtree stayed consistent and steady right there. He's working it back now, 1.4 seconds.
Yeah, he lost a little bit right there. He was dialed into about 1.1 second. I seen him there for a minute, but now he's back out to 1.5. And Berg not far behind him, only about 2 seconds behind that Crabtree back here. And Berg's he's on a run here. He's really doing well.
0.2 quicker than the leader last lap.
Well, looks like Randall Drake may have pitted, and he is back into the 12th spot, excuse me. Rattler in 11th, 1 lap down, but as soon as everybody else pits, he's going to be out there. And I don't know if he's got enough to get around and get the lead back, but he'll be back on the lead lap with these guys, and then it's just a matter of reeling them in. I wonder if he made any changes on that setup.
Oh, he had to, because he was not making any headway. He had to throw something at it to try to get it to go just a little bit faster, especially early in the run when he's on the fresher tire and these guys are on old tires. Maybe he can make up some of that, and then when they came out, he would either be just slightly ahead of them or even with them, and see how it would work out the rest of the run.
Galen Gidman back in the 5th spot here, 13 seconds behind our leader, but is having a pretty good run today.
Staying in that top 5. Brandner and Wilderson here, those two have been lockstep for about the last 20 laps.
They sure have. And both running about equal lap times and lap speeds here, so yeah, they've been pretty much mirroring each other around this track.
And once again, Bose has started to run back out away from Crabtree. I don't know what happened to Patrick's car there, but he's fallen back to almost 2 seconds now. I
think he's really fighting a loose condition right now coming off of the turns. because I see him sliding quite a bit coming up off of 2 and 4. Well, 2 mainly.
You know, he's getting a mirror full of Berg.
He sure is. Let's ride along with Crabtree here for a minute. Looking back to Berg, and let's just see what kind of closure Berg can put on him. Boy, he does close up on him a little bit in 3 there. Now let's see how Crabtree handles 2 when he comes off of 2. This is where I've been watching him be a little bit on the loose side.
He is extremely tight in the middle, and I think that's causing his loose condition on the exit,
Yep.
Rudy. That car just went way up the hill in the middle of that corner.
Yeah, he's got to get back into the gas easily, or that thing will go right around on him.
A couple of laps ago, I was listening in the car. Man, he was just in and out, in and out, in and out on that throttle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's really fighting that car in 1 and 2 with that wind blowing that way. I'm sure it's making it more difficult to get into the corner, but that car's not setting and cutting at all in 1 and 2, and he's just fighting it.
And this time by going to take a lap 89 out of 125, so we're closing the laps down here. We've only got about 36 laps to go coming to the line.
Well, we're going to see pit stops in the next 4 to 6 laps at max. And that'll be the last of the pit stops unless we get a caution.
We're going to stay on Bose here to see when he is going to decide to come down pit road. It ain't going to be much longer here. We're going to see him enter pit road, I think, and these guys are really going to welcome new tires on this thing. I think they're just right now trying to get every lap out of the gas that they can possibly get. And Alan Bose goes by pit road once again. Oh no, here he comes.
Yeah, he's ducking it in there.
And Crabtree gonna stay out.
Oh, he's wanting that lap lead.
Ah, I say he wants that point.
Yeah, he hadn't led yet tonight, had he?
Nope. But he has now. Rattler has led 15 laps. Michael Hungerford led 2. And Alan Bose has led 72 laps. So no.
Yeah, you can pretty much pencil him in for the bonus point there.
Yep, he's pretty much got that locked up. So Bose puts on 4 fresh fuel goods, full tank of fuel, or whatever fuel.
Well, he had a
needs to
bunch
get
of
there.
company, didn't he, Rudy?
He sure
Oh,
did.
Gidman's almost spun it out getting into the pit stall there.
Yeah, he had a bunch of company there. I think a lot of guys wanted to come in on the same lap he was coming in.
There's Crabtree. Crabtree and Berg came in nose to tail. And Crabtree missed a pit stall. Had to back it up. He's going to give up a spot.
He puts 4 fresh fuel goods on that thing.
But Berg's going to beat him out of the pits.
Oh, man. Berg
He didn't lose much.
Berg had a 13.8 second pit stop. Patrick Crabtree had a 15.4. So him having to back up in his pit stall cost him that much time.
Yeah, having to back up really hurt. Now Berg rockets away from him.
Our new leader out front here, Brian Wilson. Brian Wilson going to get that point for leading the lap as he's getting ready to come down pit road now.
Hard on the brakes.
So let's watch
Down
him
to
come
speed
down.
at the cone.
45 miles an hour.
And Batista came in behind him.
Yes, he did. So a couple of more guys coming down pit road, and this should probably about cycle everybody out. Our new leader at the moment is going to be Michael Hungerford.
Until he pits,
Yeah, he's going to have to pit.
which is this lap.
All right, we're going to get on him here in just a minute because Brian Wilson has finished up his pit stall in a way of 14.1 second pit stop.
I think when it cycles out this time, David Rattler's going to be your leader, but he's got a rear window full of Alan Bowes.
Michael Hungerford coming down pit road. That's going to relinquish the lead to Greg Slike. Greg Slike going to lead a lap now.
I thought he had already did.
Well, I have him as the leader.
No. I thought I saw his car on pit road. I was probably mistaken.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he is the leader right now. Michael Hungerford, 4 fresh tires and away. 14.9 second pit stop. Now we've got David Rattler out in the lead as he gets by.
Not anymore.
Oh, yeah, Alan Bowes back out in front again as he got by Rattler. And look at right behind Rattler, Jason Berg, putting the pressure on him going into the turn, is going to pass Rattler. Wow, look at that.
Well, new second place, Berg, and he was closing in that last run there before we went to pits. He was closing up on Patrick Crabtree and Alan Bowes. So, maybe Bowes made a adjustment to get the car to run a little looser on the long run and be able to hold these guys off. But Berg really making a run up through here late in this race.
He sure is, and I don't think he wants Bowes to get out there too awful far. But they're coming up here to take a lap 98 now, so 27 to go here, folks. Coming down to the end, this has actually turned out to be a better race than I thought. Love to see them green flag pit stops, Roger.
Oh, yeah, any little mistake, ask Patrick Crabtree. He's back and forth. Now, he's closing on Rattler. But what Rattler needs now with that early pit strategy, he needs a caution now to put himself right back in this mix, or he's going to probably fall down around the 4th, maybe the 5th place, depending on how Gidman's running the last 20 laps. Eight cars on the lead lap. Hungerford, the last of those cars, and Bowes is really looking at him hard here.
Crabtree looking to the inside of Rattler, going for the 3rd position, and does complete the pass before they even come out of turn 4. He completed that pass.
Yeah, I think Rattler was kind of banking on everybody getting through green stops and somebody making a mistake as they exited the pits at the end of that cycle to give him the shot to get locked back in this top 4 or 5 and hold that spot. It may not work out. I don't think he's going to get that caution. Everybody's so strung out now.
Yeah, we've only got 4 people up here within the top couple seconds here, and clear back to 5th place. Let's go back to 5th place. Galen Gidman, 16.6 seconds behind the leader. So that's a long ways back. I don't think he's going to make that ground up in 24 laps.
To go with Batista sped on pit road, had to do a drive through, and that is how he ends up a lap down, because he was running about 6th or 7th before we started this cycle of pit stops.
Yeah. Thomas Brander back here in 6th spot, 19 seconds behind the leader. These guys are probably in danger, not too far from being in danger of being put a lap down by our leader, Alan Bowes.
Well, Bowes is closing in on Hungerford. That's his next lap car to pass. He's off of turn 4, and Bowes is coming off 4 now, so less than half a straightaway.
Man, yeah, Bowes is coming quick. Let's ride along here with Hungerford, looking back toward our leader. Not that far behind him.
There's David Rattler's caution right there.
Oh my. That's just exactly what he needed, huh? Who was the caution? Joe Roberts? Yep. Oh man. Yep. Let's go back here to watch him. Go to the far chase view and see if we can figure out what exactly happened to Joe. I hated to see that. Joe being one of my favorite drivers out here, and hated to see him get all tangled up like that. It looks like coming off a turn 4, maybe. Oh, he did.
Yeah, just clipped that apron, didn't he?
Sure did. and never really recovered from that. Looked like he might have tried to get back into the throttle a little too quick.
And you know, that was right in front of second, third, fourth place right there. So that caution, that was not a bad caution. That changes things just a little bit here for some of these guys, especially David Rattler. You know, he needed that caution because he was out there on 15, 20 lap old tires already.
Yeah, and I don't know. Are we going to see the leaders come down pit road, you think?
Yeah, everybody's coming down pit road. They're all getting fresh tires.
Well, we're going to get right up here on our leader, Alan Bowes. Yeah.
What that's going to do is give probably John Batista the wave run as a guess now. Because Hungerford stayed on the lead lap. He was ahead of Bowes. But everybody's on pit road, Rudy.
Well, Johnny Foley would be the first car. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Greg Slike, it looks like.
Yeah, maybe Slike.
Yeah.
He wasn't involved in that.
Yeah. All right. So, and Alan Bowes overshoots his pit and had to back up. Oh, no.
Well, let's see how that shakes things up.
Oh, no. And it looks like Crabtree's going to beat him off pit road.
And Hungerford comes out second.
He almost beat Crabtree off of pit road. Did you see that? That was so close.
And he came in 8th position.
Man,
and almost came out with the lead.
Yeah, he. Let's take a look here and see what.
4 tires.
Yeah, Hungerford had he only did 2 tires.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he had a 7.9 second pit stop.
Yeah, that'd change a lot. A good call by them if it works out.
Yeah.
I mean, 20 to go.
Yeah, track position's going to be a lot. You know, the only other one, John Batista only did a 2-tire change, and Joe Roberts did a 2-tire change. Everybody else took 4 tires. So we're going to have to see how that 2-tire strategy is going to work out for him. I just don't know about that.
He's been fighting the car, every other thing he's done. Why not try 2 tires?
Yeah, I guess it can't hurt, right?
Nope. No, it can't hurt.
You don't know until you try it.
That's right.
With just a handful of laps go here, they're probably they're going to get the green with about 18 to go, I believe.
All right, with 20 to go here, Rudy, let's why don't you see if you can raise one of these guys up here and find out a little strategy for this last 20 laps.
Yeah, let's try.
Pick you one of these top 4 or 5 guys here.
Yeah, let's try Michael Hungerford. Well, maybe he might not want me to let him know, let everybody know about. Let's try Alan now. David Rattler.
We talked to Alan. Let's try David Rattler. Do that.
Okay.
Hello.
David Rattler, this is Rudy Cummings in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
David, we've been seeing you kind of struggling with your car a little bit. Is there some problems that you're having that you can't get out here? And do you have anything for these guys to take this to the win?
I think the car's fine. It's just the driver. I need a lot of practice here before I run decently. It's my worst mile and a half, so I'm going to try to get him on the short run, see if we can get another caution. If not, I'm just going to try to salvage the top 5 if I can.
All right, David, well, good luck out there today, and hopefully maybe we'll be talking to you. Maybe you'll be on the podium, and we'll be talking to you at the end of the race, but good luck out there tonight.
I'm giving my best.
All right, so he's going to do his best, he says, to try to get this thing back up there. And he says at least get a top 5 finish out of that would be nice, he says. So,
You know, he's a great interview. He's completely honest, and he's so soft-spoken, and this tells you like it is. That's just him. That's excellent.
All right, well, you want
to go green here, Rudy.
Bring it to the green there, Roger, one last time, hopefully.
About, what do we got here? About 18 on this one?
18 to go, yes, sir.
Yeah. Maybe he'll stay green the whole time. Pace car takes the hard left. Crabtree nails it. Hungerford goes with him. Green's in the air. 18 laps, boys. Let the rough side drag.
Alan Bowes right there on Hungerford's tail, wanting to get by him so he can go after Crabtree. But boy, I'm telling you what, Hungerford being awful strong. Oh, Hungerford gets a little squirrely coming off a 2 that time, and Bowes checks up.
Yeah, and that brought Berg and Gidman up to him and let Crabtree get a little cushion there. Bowes may have a little trouble now getting up there.
Hungerford out there with only 2-tire change. I don't know. This is 17 laps to go. There's still a lot of race to go here, and hopefully he can hang on to that second position with only a 2-tire change.
Yeah, Bowes really needs to get clear of Hungerford here if he's going to have any shot at getting back out front.
He does have a run on him this time. Looking to the inside, he might be able to do it going into turn 1. Hungerford giving him the room. Hungerford going way up high, and Bowes coming down low. It looks like he might have him coming down the backstretch, but hasn't cleared him yet. Going into turn 3. Let's see if he can do it.
He should clear him now.
There he goes. He gets by him, slides it up across the track in front of Hungerford. And look at where Berg is. Berg right on the tail of Hungerford also. Oh boy, and they're going to freight train by him. Galen Gidman coming. David Rattler coming. Boy, all these guys want to get by Hungerford, knowing he only took 2 tires. Well, they're assuming that. They don't know that.
Well, the guy came from AZEC, and most guys can figure that out pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. But Hungerford already back to the 3rd spot, and boy, and he's got a near full of Galen Gidman.
Yeah, Gidman got loose the last time off tour. I think he'd already be by him.
Berg got just a little loose that time, going into 1 actually, and boy, that allowed Hungerford to close right up on him coming out of 2. But Berg got it back together now, and let's see, Alan Bowes. We're looking at Alan Bowes here. Alan Bowes right here in the 2nd spot, already 3/4 of a second behind Crabtree. Crabtree he's trying to pull the Alan Bowes on him.
Yeah, but he got real loose there, touched the apron in 1 and 2, and lost a bunch of time. Be down probably closer to half a second now.
Yeah, it's 0.6 of a second. Alan Bowes really wanting this. He wants this win. I can tell just by the way he's driving. He wants this win.
He's really strong short run about being able to extend his lead. I wanted to see what he could do having to come from behind. He's getting there. I just don't know if he's going to have enough laps to make the move to get by. And if Berg gets there and starts putting pressure on him, he's going to have to fight to keep second.
Yeah, Berg doing a great job of hanging on to Bowes, though. I got to give him a lot of credit. He's been right there in the top 5 pretty much all night.
I think we're starting to see the 2 tires for Hungerford here as he's really starting to slide around, and Rattler's got him under fire right now, 3.
Yeah, Rattler did get by Galen Gidman now and move into...
Caution on the speedway.
Caution. Looks like Johnny Foley.
Well,
let's go back and take a look at that in slow motion.
Got her up in the marbles there in turn 2 and overcorrected a little, slid it out.
Yeah, he did go way up high and hit that wall and come right back down across the track. And like I said before, this track just a self-cleaner, and you just tap that outside wall and you go right to the inside. But he didn't hit anything. Wow. He did not hit the inside wall, so no damage on that car. Just a little bit on the side where he hit the wall in turn 2.
We're going to see the fakey fake here on pit road.
David Rattler. What the heck happened to David Rattler? He's back in 10th place.
I do not know. I haven't heard anything. Well, yes, we will. Uh-oh. Somebody caught the commitment cone.
Why am I showing it? One thing. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, David Rattler back in... Wow, he's clear back in 11th place, guys. I don't know what happened there.
I know what happened to him. When everybody started to slow, he got up and got right in the back of the 99 car of Hungerford, slid through the grass onto pit road.
Oh, that's not going to be good.
Black flag that is going to have to be cleared, and he's going to lose all those positions regardless.
Dang. So now this is going to make a whole different race out of this because Crabtree and Bose up on the front row for this restart.
Yep, and Rattler back showing 11th position right now.
Actually, he's back out, and I'm showing him in 8th. I don't know.
In 8th?
Yeah, he got off.
I haven't updated.
Yep, I think he got off of pit road just a little quicker than the other guys did there. Brian Wolderson and Johnny Foley. And Randy.
Well, they're going by him now.
Oh, yeah, okay. So he may have to start at the tail end of the lead lap. So yeah, he'll be restarting 10th.
Randall Drake going by him.
11th then. Okay, now yeah, that'll be it right there. He'll restart 11th. Dang.
That's significant. If Crabtree wins this, that's pretty significant.
This is going to make a shake-up in the points. This is going to be... Well, how close were they at points?
It was 5 points when we started tonight, and Bose was only 16 back. Bose is going to get at least one extra point on him, plus all the positions.
Right.
We're going to have a heck of a battle next week time we get to the next race.
Well, Rattler's led a lap, and so has Crabtree, so that's a point for each of them.
And Bose, so that'll cancel all that out. But Bose will get the extra bonus for the leading the most laps. Now, who's going to get the 3 for the win? Crabtree or Bose? That's going to change things a little.
Yeah. Yeah, Bose.
Plus, how many spots, sorry, Rudy, how many spots can David Rattler make up
right
here?
Exactly. The more places he makes up, the more points he's going to not lose to Crabtree. So,
yeah.
And Bose.
Yeah, we could have a pretty tight battle by the time we get to the next race here. I mean, it could be really close. All 3 drivers.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, the lights go off on the pace car, and hopefully this will be the last time we'll call down a green flag. We're going to be coming to the line with 6 to go here. So stay with us, folks, because this is going to be a nail-biter right to the last lap, because we don't know who this is. I mean, Jason Berg could come out of this. Michael Hungerford could come out of this. Thomas
Brandner, Gidman,
all
Batista's back in there.
Yep. Any one of these guys right here could win this. If there's a shake-up in the front there, they could get together, go out across the front, in the grass or something. You just don't know until this last lap.
Greg Slick, 12th position on the lead lap, still has a chance to win this.
Yeah. Rattler coming all the way from 11th position all the way up through could still win this. So yeah, it's anybody's race right here, guys. All these guys are good drivers and good racers, so we're gonna see on the edge of your seat racing right here. Call this down
and 6 laps.
One more time, Roger.
You betcha. 6 lap shootout right here. Pace car making the hard left. Crabtree, Bose take off. Green flag flies. Hungerford spins and hits the wall on the front stretch.
Oh, we got a bunch of them going
right here.
Yep, we got a bunch of them. And the caution's out. So this ain't going to be over yet, guys. Brian Wilson and Batista getting together. It looks like might have been everybody trying to get away from Hungerford.
Wow, that changes things. You may have a 1 or 2 lap shootout now.
Yeah.
And Bose lost spot to Berg.
Hungerford smokes the tires and going to go back. Now Batista, coming out and getting into the side of Brian Wilson right there. And they go out across the grass. Batista goes back out on the track, and Wilson slides it right across pit road. And he's probably going to get a black flag for that. Doggone. Oh, all right. Well, Hungerford going to be going way back to the 10th position. And yeah, I think you're right. This is going to be about a two-lap shootout.
Yeah, and I don't think Wilderson is going to be able to finish. Well, he might. I mean, he hit that wall a ton, knocked the entire front end off. He may be able to finish the race, but that just looked like Batista's car just slid right there in the dogleg when he shifted, and he just went out and got in the side of Wilderson.
Now Berg in second. He got by Bose there while everybody was checking up. And Berg going to be starting in the second spot.
Yeah, he had that advantage of being on that inside line when the green dropped and Crabtree took off, and he had a nose past Bose when the yellow flew, and that's all you got to do.
Yes, sir. So, like I said, any one of these, Brandner now up to the 4th position because Hungerford smoked the tires, so that put Brandner into the top 4. So Galen Gidman 5th, Johnny Foley up to 6th, Randall Drake 7th, Rattler up to 8th position, so he is
3 spots.
Yeah.
Which 3 spots he didn't really pass anybody because the caution came too quick, but the 99, the 36, and the 27 all end up behind him right there. That's 3 more points he needs.
Absolutely. I'm sure these guys did not want to see this caution. They wanted to see it go green the rest of the way. We did too. But, stuff like that happens, and you gotta plan for it. But just to kind of look at here, now this is caution number 6, and we've had 9 lead changes. And the 9 lead changes were among 5 drivers. 6 drivers, I'm sorry. 9 lead changes between 6 drivers.
And just about every one of those has been as a result of pit road or right away on a restart. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen anybody that jumped out front really get run down and passed yet. So the restart's going to be the key to finishing this race. Crabtree needs to get a great restart, and Bose needs to be able to anticipate that, go with him, and then have a shot, maybe coming to the white or coming off 4 to the checkers.
Now, do you think Berg's going to be able to just go right with him? Bose and Crabtree know when they get the green, they're already both right there together. Is Berg going to be able to stick right with them? Is he going to go when Crabtree goes and try to maintain that second position?
He's going to have to guess. The only person that's even come close to matching anyone on a restart was earlier in the race when Crabtree guessed the timing on Bo's restart and was able to hang right on him for a while there. No one else has even been able to stay close on these restarts. The leader shoots out 7, 8, 10 car lengths right away.
Yeah. So this is going to be a good finish. Lights are off. We're going to have a 1-lap shootout here. They're going to get the white flag on the green flag.
Yeah, all he's got to do, all Crabtree has to do, is get that jump that he got the last time, and he's home free. The battle will be for second between Bose and Berg.
Wow, I don't think I've ever seen this. Whether it was, this is pretty much I don't know if you call this a green-white checkered.
This is a white checker.
A white checker. Okay. Well, they're going to get the green too.
The green and the white have to come together.
Yeah.
A mint checkered. How about that?
Yeah, there we go. Yep. All right, Roger. One more time, buddy.
I was hoping not to have to do this again, but for one lap, let's just see how exciting this really gets.
Oh, this is going to be a nail biter here. I'm telling you. I'm just like squirming in my chair.
All right, we're coming off turn 4 here for the final time, guaranteed final time. Crabtree got a great jump right there. Green flag's in the air. Thomas Brander trying to make a 3 wide here on the outside, going down into 1. He thinks better of that.
The race is going to be for second here, and Bose looks like he's... Oh, Thomas Brander gets by Berg. Berg trying to come back on the inside.
Berg got a run. He's going to get the second.
Brander, oh man, look at this. He's got a run on Bose. He's going to bring it home. But Crabtree going to win it here tonight at Texas. 125 laps. What a finish. We've seen about everything here tonight.
Big
Roger.
crash at the start-finish line. About 7-8 cars involved in that, too. What a finish. Crabtree jumped, got a great restart. Brander, man, did he drive that down into 1. And Berg just said, okay, I'll just get you on the exit. And I don't know how he got Bose. Bose must have slipped coming off of 2. I was watching those two and not watching Bose. And he falls all the way back there. Berg got one of the best runs of the night off turn 2.
I wanted to go back and watch this actually from Crabtree here as they come to the line. Oops, sorry about that. Because Berg had a run. Matter of fact, I want to go back on Berg because him and Bose come to the line, and I don't know how Bose beat him to that line.
Bose didn't beat him to the line on the finish. Bose finished 3rd.
Okay.
A tenth of a second.
Yeah, you're right.
And Rattler ends up finishing 7th, so we're gonna have a flip at the top. I'm gonna say Crabtree's gonna have about a 4-point lead when he comes to next week's race.
Wow, what a finish! Though I'm telling you guys, this was one of the best finishes I think I have ever seen. Seriously, this was a nail biter right to the very end. Crabtree sitting there in victory lane. Let's get down there and see if we can get a word in with him.
Okay.
Patrick Crabtree, this is Rudy Cummings in the booth. You got a copy?
Got you, Rudy.
You got a great restart on that restart, and I'm telling you what, you didn't look back. Great finish here tonight, Patrick. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, man. Car was great. Track was fast. On to Montreal, pretty much.
Well, it was a great race to sit up here in the booth and watch. We didn't even know who was going to take second. Was you a little bit worried about Alan Bose because you know he was gonna do anything and everything to try to get you, but Berg was so strong. But was you worried about them too?
Absolutely. Every time we see Jason Berg and Alan Bose on the track, you're definitely worried about them. They're great drivers.
Well, anyhow, it was a super great finish to this. For this race, we had a few extra cautions, but all in all, for the car handling, as tough as it handles on this track, we've had a lot of the drivers say it handled great. Some said, nah, it was slick. But what's your rendition of this combination?
Oh, it was fast. There's a lot of grip, fast track. Not much else to say there.
All right, Patrick. Well, again, congratulations here tonight. Great win at Texas, 125 laps. Did it kind of do you in for racing for the night, kind of wear you out, or how's your nerves doing?
Nah, if it was Pocono or Michigan, that's 125 laps there is pretty bad. 125 laps in a mile and a half is not too bad.
All right, well, great job, Patrick. You want to give a special shout-out to anybody?
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Jason. I'd love to see him stick around and race a lot more.
great driver. I wish we could have got a few extra laps there. Shout out to Alan, always good every week, and shout out to David.
All right. Thank you very much, Patrick. Roger, you want to do second?
Jason Bird, Roger Wagner up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do. How's it going?
Man, you had a great run tonight. Watched you make a great run up to the field. You were back 7th, 8th earlier in the event, and worked your way up to the top 3 or 4 there on a long run. And man, at the end, that had to get really exciting. Kind of walk us through the last 2 restarts there, and especially that final restart. You got passed twice and passed both those guys back within a lap. That was pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah, honestly, I jumped in here, I think there was like 5 minutes or something left to practice, and I happened to lose my Texas setup, so I was kind of starting from blank, and just threw the fixed setup in there, made a couple changes real quick, tried to qualify, that didn't work at all. I actually spun out both laps, so I just kind of stuck something else in there, and went racing, started 11th, and then, honestly, I was so loose I couldn't even drive it at first. I was on the edge of spinning out every lap, every corner. Almost lost it a few times. So every caution that came out, just kept working on it. Got a little bit better. And then I noticed on the long run there, I kind of started to catch up to Patrick and Alan, and I was kind of surprised about that because they pretty much left me in their dust, at the beginning there. So yeah, I was kind of happy with that. But then when we got that last caution, I pretty much just tried to loosen it up as much as I could, didn't take fuel, and went for it. As far as the last pass there, I honestly didn't think that was going to work after the last restart. It was pretty nerve-wracking because I knew Thomas, he's fast, Alan's fast, Patrick is no doubt fast. I mean, every time we get on the track together, he races me super hard, and it's always fun. So I wasn't sure how it was going to play out, but I just kind of squared the corner up, like I said, and waited till Thomas's bumper cleared mine and cut it down and floored it, and that's what happened. So.
It was a great run, an excellent finish. It was, like I said, it was a lot of fun to watch, and I hope all the viewers on Twitch enjoyed that last restart there. Is there anybody that you need to say a special thanks to tonight?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, gotta thank the Under the Lights guys for even putting this on. It's one of the better leagues I'm part of. It's definitely fun. Patrick, Thomas, Alan, all you guys, always super fun to race, especially Patrick. I mean, honestly, I think it doesn't matter what track you put him and I on, we're pretty much dead even. It always makes for some fun racing, and we always are banging doors and whatnot, but we never wreck each other, so shout out to him for sure. Good win.
All right, man. Like I said, great finish. It was a lot of fun watching you guys go at it tonight, and I think Rudy has tracked down our third-place finisher, Alan Bowes.
Alan Bowes, this is Rudy Cummings in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Great run out there tonight, Alan. Tell us about that last lap there. Jason happened to get by you. Was it just, I guess he got a nose up under you and you guys were battling so hard? Tell us about that last lap.
I was hoping for a really good restart, and right before Patrick took off, I got into his bumper and I hit the brakes a little bit, and then he took off, so that didn't help me out at all. And yeah, it was a good finish. And yeah, Jason was able to get a nose under me. I was going to try to block him, and I was like, I don't know if I should do that. And by the time I decided to block him, it was already too late, so I couldn't do that. And yeah, after that, I knew he was going to get around me because I was on the outside, so I just tried to keep Thomas there behind me.
Well, it looked like a pretty great race. You led the most laps here tonight. You led 81 laps, so that's a good one for in the books for you for points, I guess. But great job out there tonight, Alan. You put on a great show up front. I know you didn't get a lot of TV time. The leader hardly ever does, because the battles were always back in the pack. But I tried to give you some TV time. So, but anyhow, congratulations there on your third place finish, Alan. And you want to give a shout out to anybody?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Patrick for the awesome setup. I felt like I had something there for this. Is leading 81 laps, but you know, I made a little pit mistake and slid through my stall a little bit, and Patrick had a great pit stop at the same time. So, you know, Patrick got me where he needed to get me, and he won the race because of it. And, you know, clean air, I guess it just made that big of a difference today.
Yeah, it sure did. Patrick got out in that clean air, and, you know, we seen him check out just like you did. I mean, you know, you had quite the advantage over the whole field there for a while, and you probably got the feel what that felt like being out there in clean air. But anyhow, Alan, great job tonight. Congratulations on your 3rd spot finish, and we will pass this on. We'll let you guys get back at it and watch Patrick do some burnouts here on in Victory Lane, and we will see you at the next race.
Yep. See you in Montreal, I think.
All right, Roger. Well, let's do a quick rundown here of all the whole results of where everybody finished. Patrick Crabtree, of course, our winner. Jason Berg, second, finishing about 0.42 seconds behind our leader. Alan Bowes right there in 3rd spot, about a half a second back. Thomas Brander, great finish for Thomas in 4th. Johnny Foley coming back in and finishing 5th. What a great finish for him. 6th place, Galen Gidman. David Rattler, a points leader, finishing 7th. This is going to shake up the points just a little. I'm sure David did not want to see Patrick and Alan finish way ahead of him. A few points, but we'll go into that next week, and we'll see where everybody shakes out. Randall Drake in the 8th spot. Greg Slike in 9th. John Batista 10th. Brian Wilderson 11th. Michael Hungerford 12th. Joe Roberts 13th. Bill Jett 14th. Zachary Cahalis in 15th. Nathan Sedlick 16th. And Donald Stewart rounding out the field in 17th. So, all right, well, Roger, let's close this out. What's your feelings on the race tonight?
Great race. A lot of fun to watch. I know we say it every week, and these guys, you know, they just put on a show. That last restart, I'm tired. You know, that last lap was enough to wear me out. But, you know, Alan Bowes dominated this race, and he even admitted it. You know, I made a mistake on pit road, and it killed me. You know, Crabtree had a great stop. He had a bad one. Every time you go on pit road, it can change things, whether it's green or under caution. And it hurt him tonight. Probably cost him a win, in my opinion. I mean, Berg, crazy strong, right? The last half of that race, he figured something out. Said he threw the fix setup in there, did some tweaking on it, kept throwing things at it during the race, and it made a great finishing position for him. He had an awesome car in the long run. He made it work, come home second. Crabtree. I mean, it's top every time, you know, right at the front every race, and it just a great race overall. A little bit of a surprise that he ended up winning that. I really thought Bowes was going to be the guy to beat, and I'm sure Rattler, you know, disappointed in his finishing position, going to end up losing the points lead. But like I told you at the beginning of the night, those guys have traded it 3 times in the last 4 weeks. They will probably trade it at least one more time, unless Crabtree just hits a streak here. It's just a lot of fun. This is too exciting on Friday nights, and I'm up till midnight doing this. It's awesome. It's worth every minute of it.
It sure is. I love to see this racing like this. You know, I'm with you though. You know, Crabtree definitely was a surprise that I thought, you know, Bowes was going to win it after that long green flag run that he ran away with it. You know, and but to come out of this and Crabtree winning it here tonight, that's amazing. You know, and I'm happy for Patrick. He definitely deserved that win, you know, overall. So, all right, well, that's going to do it for us for tonight. And from what I'm understanding, they're going to be running at Montreal next week. So that should be a very interesting combination there. So until then, we will see you next week.